All right, this is Mr. Gillum, and I've got a pretty good feeling that you guys are going to like today's lesson because this is something that we've talked about in the past. Maybe a little bit of review for you. But today we're going to talk about the least common multiple, and sometimes that's abbreviated LCM. So if you hear me say LCM, I'm talking about the least common multiple. So what I have here is something that you guys have probably seen in the past. In fact, I know that many of you are more familiar with it than I would like you to be, because you refer back to this for your multiplication facts. And actually, this is just a big table of multiples. So I guess before I start highlighting anything, let's take a look at what a multiple is. A multiple is a number that shares the same common factor. Okay, numbers that share the same common factor. Sounds like a fancy definition, really. But the least common multiple is the smallest multiple that two factors share. And so I guess just writing down the words isn't as good as looking at what a multiple actually is. I'm going to highlight one of these columns that maybe we don't all know the multiplication facts for. 13. Okay? 13 times 1 is 13, 13 times 2 is 26, 39, 52, 65, 78, and so on and so on and so on. And I know you know how this works, but each of those numbers is actually called a multiple of 13 because I am multiplying it by 1, multiplying it by 2, multiplying it by 3. And you'll also see that those same exact numbers over here. 13 times 1, 13 times 2, 13 times 3, and so on. Those are also the multiples. Now, in both of those blue columns, you will see the exact same numbers, and they are the multiples of 13. Okay, so that's kind of how this chart works. Every number in a column, for instance, the 6th row here, every number in this row has the same factor, or they all share the same factor in common, which is 6. 6 goes into 6 once, into 12 twice, into 18 3 times, into 24 4 times, and so on and so on and so on. And because all of these numbers highlighted in red share the same common factor, they're all multiples of the factor 6. Okay, or 10 even. Every number in this column is a multiple of 10. Because 10 multiplied by 1 would be 10, 10 multiplied by 2 would be 20, and so on. So each set of multiples is found in your multiplication chart. And just the numbers that you can multiply the factor by. And so what we're going to do today is we are just going to write the lists down for each number of all their multiples, and we're going to find the one that is the smallest. When you really break down the words least common multiple, it's pretty self-explanatory. Least means smallest. Common means the ones they had the same. And multiple is just any number multiplied by the factor that will get you a multiple. So, for instance, 9 and 6. If I'm looking for the least common multiple, we're looking for the smallest number that they both share when you multiply them. Now, sometimes students get a little confused about LCM and they think, well, right away I know 9 times 6. 54 must be the least common multiple. But that's not always the case, and you'll see when I write this list. That is a multiple of 9 and 6 that they both share, so it is a common multiple. However, it's not the least common multiple. So hopefully you won't need your multiplication chart for today, but it's there if you do. I would like you to write the multiples for as many blanks there are on your worksheet when you get that. However, for this example, I'm going to write down all the way through multiplying by 10. So the multiples of 9 include 9, because 9 multiplied by 1 would be 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, and I know I probably know my multiples a little better than some of us out there, but I'm just taking 9 times 1, 9 times 2, 9 times 3, 9 times 4, 9 times 5. These are all the multiples of 9. 63, 72, 81, and 90. Okay? These are all the multiples of 9. Now I'm going to write the multiples of 6. 6 times 1 is 6, times 2 is 12, times 3 is 18, times 4 is 24, 30, 36, 42, 48. Okay, so there's my first 10 multiples of 6. Now, we decided at the beginning that the LCM, well, I mean, a lot of students decide right away that the LCM would be 54. However, although it is a common multiple, It's not the least common multiple. Okay, that L makes a big difference, the least common multiple. In this case, 36 is smaller than 54, and even smaller than that would be 18. So in this case, the LCM would be 18, not 54. Okay, so it's not just a multiplication problem. Looking at 7 and 3, again, 7 times 3 is 21. Let's see if it works for this instant. For 7, it would be 7, 14, 21. And again, these are just the multiples of 7 that I'm writing down. I'm just taking 7 times 6, 7 times 7, 7 times 8, 7 times 9, all the way up till 7 times 10. And I'm going to do the same thing for 3. All right. And now we know a little trick about 3, or maybe you don't remember, but if the digits of a number add up to a multiple of 3, then that number is divisible by 3. 3 would be a factor of that number. But for now, let's just take a look. I see that 7 is not in the 3 column, 14 is not, 21 is right there, shared, so it would be in common. 28 no, 35 no. Now, we ran out of numbers here, but the multiples keep going forever. And I know 4 plus 2 is 6, and 3 goes into 6. So I know that 42 would be a common multiple, just not the least common multiple. I know also that 63 would be a multiple, but not the least common multiple. So in this case, I took that little shortcut and it did work out. But like I said, sometimes that's misleading because sometimes it does work out, sometimes it doesn't. So in this case, the least common multiple would be 21. Don't fall into the habit of just multiplying the two numbers together because it's not always the least common multiple. Okay, this time it was though. All right, so that's it for today. We're going to make some lists and find the least common multiple.